Good morning, students. This is Dr. R. Venkatesh, biology teacher. Today, we would like to discuss the topic nutrition in human beings. Before going to teach that topic, we must learn about what is life process. Life process are the processes undergoing in living organisms to sustain life. That means they need to maintain the life. What are life processes? Nutrition, reproduction, excretion, respiration, and growth, etc. All are called as life processes. So in previous our class, we discussed about the various modes of nutrition. What is nutrition? It is nothing but the process of intaking food material into body and converting of complex substances into simple substances. That is nothing but the nutrition. So here the definition given, the process of taking food inside the body and converting it into smaller molecules which can be absorbed by the body is called nutrition. So why we have to learn the nutrition? What is the need of nutrition? Nutrition is needed to provide energy for doing any activity and provide essential nutrients for life process. Various kinds of life processes are happen in our body. To lead those life processes, they need certain energy. For that purpose, we have to learn nutrition. So in the nutrition in animals, we broadly divided into 5 steps. One is ingestion, second one is digestion, third one is absorption, fourth one is assimilation, and the fifth one is egestion. In our class, we discussed already what are the different processes of steps in all these 5 steps in amoeba. So what is ingestion? Just briefly, the process of taking food into the body. So whatever the food you are taking, that food inside taking is nothing but ingestion. So what is digestion? The food what you are taken, that food will be broken into smaller particles. For example, you are taking the big particles and those big particles will be converted into smaller particles. That is what happens in digestion. And after that, the third step is absorption. So what is absorption means? The distribution of digested food into various parts of the body. And fourth step is assimilation. So this absorbed food taken by the body cells and they are using these nutrients for getting energy. That is happen in respiration process. And finally, whatever the undigested food is there, that undigested food is converted into totally, it will be sent outside the body. That process is nothing but egestion. So egestion means it is the process in which undigested food is removed from the body is called egestion. So come to human nutrition. We will go to the topic is human nutrition. So that human nutrition, what are the different parts are there? So how this human nutrition happen? We will discuss. Okay, so that for example, the main components of the human digestive system are, one is alimentary canal or gut, second one is digestive glands. See, from the mouth to our anus there are different parts are there. The total one is called as alimentary canal, and in this total digestive system there are different glands are also associated. So come to what are the different parts of our human digestive system. One is mouth. So the mouth is also having different buccal cavity, and followed by the esophagus, which is also known as food pipe. Next, diaphragm, it is a sheet, and stomach, a J-shaped structure, small intestine, large intestine, rectum, anus. So if you see the sequence of these parts, The first starts with the mouth inside having some cavity that is called buccal cavity, which followed by the pharynx. So near our neck area it is. It's followed by the esophagus, which is also known as alimentary food pipe, which is also known as food pipe, and stomach. The shape of the stomach is J-shaped, and small intestine. It again contains three parts: duodenum, jejunum, ileum. And the next one is large intestine, which again contains three parts: cecum, colon, and rectum. And finally, last part of our digestive system is anus. So here, one part is more important, that is the pharynx. Pharynx is the common passage for food as well as the air itself. So that's why that is the most important part. Now these are the different parts with diagrammatic presentation. You see there our mouth and all the mouth part, and which is followed by the tongue and followed by the esophagus. Esophagus is also followed by the stomach. Stomach is also followed by the small intestine, large intestine, and all the parts. And along with these parts, you can also observe the different types of glands associated with this. So you see once again here, along with that different parts, the glands like pancreas. See here the pancreas, it is a leaf-like one gland. And you can also see here one more another gland, liver. Here you see liver, and some of the intestinal glands are also present here only. So all are associated with the human digestive system. Now come to I told already in the nutrition there are 5 basic steps are there: ingestion, digestion, absorption, assimilation, and egestion. So how these steps are happen in our body? The first one, ingestion. So through mouth only we will take the food material. So that is the first step. In human beings, food is ingested through the mouth. The food is put into the mouth, and our scissors, our teeth are firstly starts the broken down of the different food particles into smaller particles. That process is called physical digestion. So our mouth is itself starts with the physical digestion. So egestion takes place in the mouth part only. And come to the next one, digestion. So mouth, the digestion of food begins in the mouth itself. The teeth cut the food particles into small pieces, chew it, and grind it. So that process is nothing but physical digestion, and followed by the food and mixed with the saliva. That saliva secreted by salivary glands. Saliva is a watery liquid. That saliva contains one enzyme called as salivary amylase, which convert the sugars in our food material, the starch or sugars in our food material, into a simpler forms. And later on, the food, the tongue which is there in our mouth itself, it is useful to mixing our food with the saliva. And this is the first process of digestion, which starts in the mouth itself. It is an incomplete process. So, but the first step of the human digestion starts in mouth itself. Now, next one, this mixed food with the saliva is, so the food which is enters into the food which is mixed with the saliva is enters into the esophagus, which is the next part of the mouth. Esophagus is also known as food pipe. The slightly digested food in the mouth is swallowed by the tongue and goes down the food pipe called esophagus. So in the esophagus, the food is moved by a special movement is called peristaltic movement. The food transferred into the esophagus is again moved into the stomach by a movement is known as peristaltic movement. Now the food enters into the stomach. Stomach is a J-shaped structure which is present left side of the abdomen. The stomach walls are glandular. They secrete a juice called gastric juice. That gastric juice contains three substances, namely HCl, hydrochloric acid, pepsin, an enzyme, mucus, it is a liquid. The hydrochloric acid present in this gastric juice, which helps for killing of microorganisms present on the surface of the food material. Killing of microorganisms present on the surface of the food material. And due to the presence of this hydrochloric acid, the stomach walls may chance to damage. So to protect the stomach walls, the mucus is helpful. Now this partially digested food goes from the stomach into the small intestine. So this partially food enters into the small intestine. Whenever it enters into the small intestine, the food will be converted into slightly alkaline in nature. Alkaline in nature. Now come to the intestine. In intestine, it is of two types, small intestine and large intestine. The small intestine is a very longest part and largest part of the human digestive system or human alimentary canal. So here you can observe it. The small intestine in the human being is the site for the complete digestion of the food material. So whatever the nutrients are there in your food, for example, your food contains carbohydrates, fats, proteins, all will be maximum they digested in small intestine, because when the food enters into the small intestine, it receives two secretions from liver and pancreas. Liver secretes bile juice, which is greenish yellow liquid, and which is initially stored in the gallbladder. Whenever the food is enters into the intestine, it again releases into the small intestine. And bile juice, what it performs? Bile juice coming alkaline in nature, and bile juice contains the bile salts. They are useful for the digestion of fats. Digestion of fats itself. And pancreas is another gland which secretes pancreatic juice. This pancreatic juice contains amylase. That amylase enzyme is useful for breaking of starch, that means carbohydrate materials. And another important intestinal juice. Another juice is an intestinal juice. This intestinal juice contains some kinds of lipase like enzymes, as well as they also contains some other trypsin like enzymes. They are useful for the breakdown of lipids and proteins. Lipids and proteins. Now this is the part, this is the type of digestion happen in the case of both small intestine. Once this total digestion is happened, now the next step in our process is an absorption. This totally digested food is again absorbed by the small intestine area only. Most of the food absorbed in the small intestine area only. Small intestine contains again finger-like projections which are called as villi. They are finger-like projections. They improve the surface area and they are helpful for the absorption of the digested food itself. They are helpful for the absorption of the digested food itself. And the next step is assimilation. assimilation. So whatever the food here absorbed in the small intestine area, this food is transported into the various parts of the body with the help of blood cells. With the help of blood cells. So this the remaining undigested food which is present in the small intestine, it is enters into the large intestine. Then from this large intestine, the food enters into the rectum, and finally it is sent outside through anus. Okay, that process is nothing but digestion. So see here, this is the very important flow chart. So what happening, where the functioning, what are the enzymes are present, and what are the functions of those enzymes are given. Every student, please try to write this chart in your book and practice it. Most of the questions are coming from enzymes and glands only. So the first one, see, mouth. It contains, what is the gland? Salivary gland. So salivary gland secretes salivary amylase. What is the function of that enzyme? It converts the starch into sugars. So second part, a J-shaped structure, stomach. So stomach contains, what is the gland? Gastric gland. So it secretes, what is the juice? Gastric juice. It contains HCl, pepsin, mucus. HCl useful for killing of bacteria that enter with the food, and HCl, it makes the medium alkaline for the action of pepsin. HCl means acidic in nature food, it again convert into alkaline by the action of pepsin. Pepsin, it is also an enzyme which also useful for digestion of proteins. Mucus, it protects the inner layer of the stomach wall from HCl, because HCl is acidic in nature. Due to this acidity, it damages the stomach wall. And the next one, small intestine. So small intestine area, it contains the two glands. One is liver, another one is the pancreas. So liver secretes bile juice. It makes the medium into acidic for the action of the pancreatic enzymes. Break down the large fat molecules into the small globules so that enzymes can act upon them. Pancreatic juice, it contains amylase, trypsin, lipase. Amylase useful for the conversion of the carbohydrate into glucose. Trypsin useful to convert the proteins into amino acids. Lipase is useful for the conversion of the fats into fatty acids and glycerol. So everyone, please, this chart is very useful and very important in examination point of view. In previous exams, they asked about that. What is the functions of pancreas? What is the juice released by the liver? So what the bile juice contains? So like that they will ask the questions. And another one is, what is the shape of the stomach? It's a J shape. Which organ is called, which part of the human digestive system called as a food pipe? Esophagus. So like that they will ask, what is a leaf-like gland associated with the human digestive system? Pancreas. Okay, so name the digestion takes place in the mouth. Physical digestion. The digestion which takes place in the intestine is in a chemical digestion. The digestion which takes place in the intestine is in a chemical digestion. Okay, so name the movement